Look at this spot here. What a fantastic location. I'm on the balcony here of the Arctic Hotel. And if you stay here, that view there is your breakfast, lunch and dinner view. It doesn't get a lot better than that. But it's also the place where I caught my halibut, my Greenlandic halibut, out of those fresh, blue, cold waters. I've got one there. Kim gave me a couple. And the beautiful thing with this fish, the reason that chefs love it is because it's so thick up top here. It's almost like cooking with meat. People love to eat it, and chefs love to cook with it. So I filleted it off, and I'm going to take a couple of slices off this for today's dish. Greenlandic halibut. I'm going to roast off some new potatoes. I'm going to make a salsa and a pea puree. So 2 of those. And I've probably got, I don't know, 200-gram pieces there. Now, to go with this, I need some potatoes. I've got some new potatoes. I've par-cooked them. So that means they've just come to the boil in some salted water, and I've taken them off, refreshed them down, and taken the skins off them. These here, southern Greenlandic potatoes, straight into a hot pan with some oil. We want to pick up some colour, nice and golden. They'll crisp up on the outside. Everybody likes crispy new potatoes cooked twice. So for the salsa, I'm just going to cut this garlic fine. You don't want any big lumps of garlic in it. It'll get caught in your teeth. Someone will crunch down on that, and they'll really regret that. So nice and fine. And a good trick for keeping it fine, get it as cut small as you can. Pop a little bit of rock salt on there, and then using your knife, you can crush it into a paste. So you can see there I've got that little paste of garlic. I don't want all of that, but just a bit can go into there. Like that. Little red onion, finely chopped. In with that there. Now I've got some tomato, pre-cut tomato. I took the seeds out of the tomato. I'm just using the outside, that skin. In with that there. I've also got some tomato paste, which I'm going to add to that there. Just like that. Squeeze of lime. Right, give them a little stir. I'm going to add some of the chervil to this. So rough chop that chervil. In that goes like that. Have a little taste of that. Nice and fresh, really zingy. Got the onions, chervil as well. Pop him there. Now the fish. Always like to season on the board, much easier. I've left the skin on one side. Beautiful thing with the halibut as well. Those scales, they're so small, it's almost like it's got no scales on it at all. So we can leave the skin on. We get a nice crispy texture to that. And if I oil it up here on the board, I know I'm not going to get too much oil in the pan. So they're glistening in oil there. Lump of butter for the frying pan. The frying pan and the butter. This is where it all goes wrong all right. If it sizzles, we're going to fry fish. So in it goes, sizzles straight away, that's absolutely perfect. Get that melting down. Flesh side down into the frying pan. We cook that bit first because it's nice and white. So the presentation side of the fish down first. Oh, it's coming along perfectly. If you look over my shoulder down there, in amongst the icebergs, the tourists are on those boats and they're heading out amongst the icebergs, out where we were catching this fish. And it's beautiful out there. It's so serene, always moving, always changing. And you know, from here, they look like icebergs, they look great. But when you're down there on the water next to them, that's when you get the idea of the size. Some of them are bigger than this hotel. Some of them are like aircraft carriers. It's an amazing spot to be. I'm going to turn this fish. Had about 2 minutes on that side. What'll happen now, that skin, that heat being applied to it, it'll make it crispy, it'll make it start to dry out, and it gives us that second texture to this fish dish that I really like. Potatoes have come on beautifully. Have a look at these. Nice and golden brown, looking very beautiful. In with these herbs. Just chopped chervil I'm using today. Could have been chopped parsley, could be chopped dill. But keep it to one of the softer herbs. You don't want a rosemary or a thyme or something like that. It might be a bit strong for this fish. Now we're going to plate this up. I've got a little bit of pea puree. I cheated on that. I made that earlier. So I'm going to put a spoonful of this on the plate. This is a trick my wee son taught me when we were teaching him how to eat. Run the spoon straight through it. All the chefs are doing that all over the world now. Grab our potatoes. We don't want all of these. 3, 4, something like that. Nice and golden. Pop them on there. Herbs haven't overcooked because I just added them. That'll be plenty. A little bit of that salsa. Now for the fish. Just going to pop it up there on those potatoes. But what I think is ironic is that 25 years ago, when I started off as a small chef on the other side of the world in New Zealand. I was using Greenlandic halibut caught right here in these waters that was being exported to us out in New Zealand. Now here I am 25 years later, kind of full circle, catching my own Greenlandic halibut out of those beautiful, blue, clean waters out there and cooking it just up here on the decking in the most northerly 4-star hotel in the world. And for me, that's a real 4-star taste of Greenland.